Welcome to Ace My Exams Learning. Let us get started with today's learning.
Question. Distinguish between a private meeting and a public meeting. Meetings serve as fundamental mechanisms for communication, decision-making, and collaboration across various sectors of society. They provide avenues for individuals to gather, discuss, and deliberate on matters ranging from organizational affairs to broader societal issues. There are two primary categories of meetings, namely private and public. Let's look at the differences between private and public meetings. 1. Attendance. Private meetings are exclusively attended by individuals who are members of a specific organization, group, or entity, often through invitation or membership privileges that grant them access. On the other hand, public meetings are accessible to anyone who wishes to participate. They are not limited to particular individuals or members of an organization, thus allowing for wider community involvement or general public attendance. 2. Purpose. Private meetings typically concentrate on the internal affairs of the hosting organization or group. These discussions often involve organizational activities, strategies, policies, or issues relevant to the group's objectives. Conversely, public meetings are designed for a wider audience to address social, political, environmental, economic, or community concerns. They offer a venue for public discussion, debate, and participation in topics of general interest. 3. Access and transparency. Private meetings often have restricted access, with participation limited to members or invited guests. Discussions and decisions made within private meetings may not always be transparent to the public. In contrast, public meetings prioritize openness and transparency, allowing any interested individual to attend and observe the proceedings. This transparency fosters accountability and ensures that decisions made in public meetings are accessible and understandable to all stakeholders. Examples of private meetings include gatherings of cultural societies, school governing bodies, church councils, corporate board meetings, or meetings of private clubs and associations. These meetings involve members deliberating on matters specific to their organization's objectives or interests. Public meetings include political rallies, town hall gatherings, public marches, community forums, and religious campaign events. These gatherings engage a broader audience, encourage public dialogue, and tackle issues pertinent to the wider community or society. Question. List 5 qualities of a good chairperson of a meeting. A skilled chairperson possesses unique qualities he uses to ensure that meeting proceedings are orderly and discussions remain focused, productive, and inclusive. The essential qualities that define a good chairperson are: 1. Strong leadership. A good chairperson should possess strong leadership qualities to effectively control, guide, and encourage participants throughout the meeting, ensuring productivity and adherence to agenda items. 2. Intelligence. The chairperson should demonstrate intelligence, understanding all topics discussed during the meeting and leading discussions towards making informed and intelligent decisions that benefit the group. 3. Personality. An outgoing and pleasant personality helps the chairperson create a welcoming atmosphere, putting members at ease and encouraging open discussion and participation. 4. Self-discipline. Good self-discipline helps the chairperson maintain control of the meeting proceedings and garner the respect of members by adhering to time constraints, agenda, and order. 5. Good judgment and impartial decision-making. The chairperson should exhibit good judgment and impartiality when making decisions, ensuring fairness and transparency in the decision-making process. 6. Speech skills. Effective communication skills, including a good command of the language, are essential for the chairperson to articulate ideas clearly, facilitate discussions, and present information in a manner that is easily understandable to all participants. 7. Courtesy and friendliness. A chairperson who demonstrates a courteous and friendly demeanor fosters a positive environment within the meeting and promotes collaboration, respect, and constructive dialogue among participants. 8. Tact and discretion. The chairperson should demonstrate tact and discretion when addressing sensitive issues or conflicts, handling them diplomatically to maintain harmony and professionalism within the meeting. 9. Patience. Patience is a valuable attribute for a chairperson, especially when dealing with divergent opinions, complex discussions, or unexpected disruptions, allowing for effective resolution and progress. 10. Unbiased and fair conduct. The chairperson must maintain impartiality and fairness in their conduct towards all members and in decision-making processes, ensuring equitable treatment and respect for diverse perspectives within the group. Question. State 4 aspects that are stipulated in the Constitution. The Constitution of an organization serves as its foundational document, providing a comprehensive framework that guides its operations, governance, and decision-making processes. Below are the essential aspects stipulated in the Constitution of an organization. 1. Name of the organization. The official name of the organization as registered. 2. Starting date. The date when the Constitution was completed and came into operation. 3. Aims and objectives. Clear articulation of the organization's aims, objectives, and possibly a mission statement outlining its purpose and goals. 4. Membership requirements. Criteria and procedures for someone to become a member, including eligibility, application process, rights, and responsibilities. 5. Executive structure. Description of the executive body, including its composition, roles, duties, privileges, method of electing office bearers, terms of service, and any other relevant details. 6. Meetings procedures. Guidelines for meetings, including notification procedures, quorum requirements, proxy procedures, voting methods, agendas, minute style, procedures for amending the Constitution, etc. 7. Financial policies. Financial aspects such as the end date of the financial year, appointment of auditors, membership fees, procedures for banking and opening accounts, designation of signatories, and other relevant financial management details. 8. Suspension of members. Procedures outlining under what circumstances and how members may be suspended from the organization. 9. Co-opting new members. Processes for co-opting new members into the organization outside of regular membership application procedures. 10. Dissolution procedures. Procedures and protocols for the dissolution, closing down, and disbanding of the organization, including the disposal of assets and settling of liabilities. Question. The secretary has a very important role to play during a meeting. Give the duties that are performed by a good secretary during a meeting. A good secretary plays a crucial role during a meeting by performing the following duties. 1. Drafting notice and agenda. After discussing with the chairperson, the secretary drafts the notice and agenda for the meeting. 2. Preparing the venue. This involves arranging the layout of the room, setting up visual aids, ensuring proper ventilation, heating or cooling as needed, ensuring the venue is free from interruptions, and arranging refreshments if required. 3. Sending around the attendance register. Before the meeting commences, the secretary circulates the attendance register for attendees to sign. 4. Handling legal applications. The secretary may handle any necessary legal applications, such as applying for a liquor license if drinks are to be served at the meeting. 5. Recording time. It's the secretary's responsibility to note the starting and closing times of the meetings. 6. Administrative work. The secretary attends to all administrative tasks, including managing correspondence and maintaining membership lists. 7. Document arrangement. Arranging all documentation in a logical order for the chairperson to utilize during the meeting. 8. Preparing minutes. The secretary prepares proper minutes of the meeting, which may either be read at the next meeting or taken as read if they were sent out with the notice and agenda. 9. Noting important points. Recording important points of the meeting, such as verbatim resolutions, dates, instructions, and identifying individuals responsible for tasks. 10. Compiling and filing minutes. Compiling, typing, and filing the minutes of the meeting, and managing related administrative work. 11. Handling financial matters. In the absence of a treasurer, the secretary may handle financial matters as required. 12. Counting votes. In the absence of a voting officer, the secretary counts votes during decision-making processes. 13. Ensuring neatness of venue. After the meeting concludes, the secretary ensures that the venue is left neat and orderly. Question. Name 4 requirements for a meeting to be properly constituted. To ensure a meeting is properly constituted, the following requirements must be met. 1. Proper convening. The meeting must be properly convened by an authorized person. This means that the individual calling the meeting has the authority to do so, typically outlined in the organization's rules or bylaws. 2. Notice with agenda and time limit. Members must receive adequate notice of the meeting, which includes the agenda and any time limits prescribed by the Constitution or rules of the organization. This ensures that attendees are aware of what will be discussed and have the opportunity to prepare. 3. Quorum present. A quorum, which is the minimum number of members required to be present to conduct business legally, must be met. This ensures that decisions made during the meeting have the necessary support of the membership. 4. Correct chairperson. The correct person must act as the chairperson of the meeting. The chairperson is responsible for facilitating the proceedings, maintaining order, and ensuring that all agenda items are addressed appropriately. 5. Proper appointment of chairperson. The chairperson must be properly appointed according to the rules and procedures outlined in the organization's constitution. This ensures that the individual leading the meeting has the authority to do so and is recognized as such by the organization. Give reasons why it is important to communicate in the place of work. Effective communication is vital in the workplace for numerous reasons as outlined below. 1. To provide, obtain, or exchange information. Effective communication is essential for conveying duties, giving instructions, solving problems, and making decisions during meetings. It enables individuals to share relevant information, clarify expectations, and collaborate on tasks effectively. 2. To form or maintain healthy relationships. Communication fosters positive relationships between employers and employees, management and staff members, colleagues, and the public. It helps establish trust, mutual respect, and understanding, resulting in a harmonious and supportive work environment. 3. To persuade others to think or act the way you do. Communication serves as a persuasive tool to motivate workers to increase productivity, convince colleagues to accept ideas, or persuade clients to utilize services, products, or ideas. Hence, effective communication skills empower individuals to influence and inspire others towards desired outcomes. 4. To make decisions about what you think and what you do. Communication facilitates decision-making processes at all levels of the organization. Whether it's the executive committee planning changes to working hours or an employee seeking feedback on a promotion application, effective communication ensures that decisions are well informed and supported by relevant input. 5. To express yourself and your ideas to others. Communication allows individuals to articulate their thoughts, express ideas, and convey messages effectively. From presenting a business plan to planning an advertising campaign, communication plays an important role in expressing ideas and ensuring they are well received and understood. 6. To increase productivity. Clear and open communication enhances productivity by ensuring that tasks are understood, deadlines are met, and resources are utilized efficiently. When expectations are communicated effectively, employees can focus on their work with clarity and confidence. 7. For better employee relationships. Effective communication builds strong relationships among co-workers, fostering collaboration, trust, and camaraderie. It promotes transparency, respect, and empathy to create a positive workplace culture where employees feel valued and supported. 8. For more effective decision-making. Communication facilitates the exchange of ideas, feedback, and perspectives necessary for informed decision-making. By engaging stakeholders and considering diverse viewpoints, organizations can make better decisions that align with their objectives and values. 9. Better cooperation between workers. Communication encourages teamwork and cooperation among workers by promoting transparency, sharing information, and fostering a sense of shared purpose. When employees communicate effectively, they can collaborate seamlessly to achieve common goals. 10. Ensure that the objectives of the organization are achieved. Communication aligns individuals' efforts with organizational objectives by clarifying expectations, providing direction, and monitoring progress. It ensures that everyone is working towards common goals and contributes to the overall success of the organization. 11. Saving time and money. Effective communication minimizes misunderstandings, errors, and delays, increasing efficiency and saving costs. This is achieved by streamlining processes, reducing rework, and eliminating unnecessary expenses associated with poor communication practices. Question. Diagrammatically illustrate the main elements of the communication process by means of a suitable model. Various models have been developed to understand and illustrate the communication process. One such model is the Jacobson model. It highlights distinct communication elements, namely, sender, receiver, message, channel, feedback, and the code, which facilitate effective communication exchanges. Below is an illustration of the Jacobson model. The beginning of the communication process involves the sender, who formulates the message they plan to send to another person or group of people. Encoding. The sender formulates thoughts into a message using a code or language the receiver can understand. This is referred to as encoding. The message. The message is the information the sender wants to communicate. The sender's aim here is to craft a message that can effectively convey meaning. The channel. The sender chooses the preferred way to transmit the message to the receiver. This could be verbal channels such as voice, intercom, telephone, interview, meeting, fax, or non-verbal channels like body language, pictures, music, or graphs. The receiver. The receiver is the person to whom the message is directed or the intended recipient of the message. Decoding. On receiving the message, the receiver interprets the encoded message from the sender. This is referred to as decoding. Feedback. After decoding and understanding the message content, the receiver reverts to the sender by way of feedback. Noise. Noise, also known as a communication barrier, can impede successful communication. It includes anything that hinders the communication flow or causes a breakdown. Question. Name and explain each of the following categories of communication. 1. Satellite transmissions reach a global audience. This category is mass communication. Mass communication refers to the dissemination of information to a large and diverse audience through various channels such as television, radio, newspapers, and in this case, satellite transmissions. 2. A sales lady explains the company's refund policy to a client. The category here is interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication involves the exchange of information, ideas, and emotions between individuals or small groups. In this scenario, the sales lady engages in face-to-face communication with the client to provide information about the company's refund policy. 3. Google uses artificial intelligence to predict user preferences. This category is known as technological communication or digital communication. Technological communication, also known as digital communication, refers to the transmission of information using electronic devices and digital platforms. In this example, Google employs artificial intelligence algorithms to analyze user data and behavior patterns. 4. Jane, an intern in the principal's office, is thinking of submitting a month's notice to go and start her own business. The category is intrapersonal communication. Intrapersonal communication refers to the internal dialogue or conversation that an individual has with oneself. In this scenario, Jane is contemplating her decision to submit her resignation notice and start her own business. 5. Fisher, the restaurant owner, is sending the message to all staff in his business via the radio. This category is mass communication. Mass communication involves transmitting information to a large and diverse audience through various media channels. In this case, Fisher, the restaurant owner, is using the radio to broadcast a message to all staff members in his business. This form of communication allows him to reach multiple employees simultaneously. 6. Colleagues in the classroom are discussing the assignment during lunchtime. The category is interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication occurs between two or more individuals in face-to-face interactions. In this situation, colleagues in the classroom engage in interpersonal communication as they discuss the assignment during lunchtime. This form of communication allows for direct exchange of ideas, collaboration, and problem-solving among peers within a small group setting. 7. Moses is communicating with his puppy, asking it if somebody has bothered taking it to the clinic as it is sick. This category is extrapersonal communication. Extrapersonal communication refers to communication that occurs between humans and non-human entities, such as animals or machines. In this scenario, Moses is communicating with his puppy, a non-human entity, expressing concern about its health. Question 1. Define the term communication. Communication is a two-way process in which information, often conveyed as a message, is initiated by one individual, known as the sender. This message is transmitted through a designated channel or medium to reach another individual, referred to as the receiver. The receiver, upon receiving the message, reacts by providing feedback, which is acknowledged as their response or reaction to the information received. Question 1.2. Choose an item from column B that matches a description in column A. The form of nonverbal communication that relies on the eyes of the sender. The correct answer is H. Kinesics. Words used to establish rapport. The correct answer is C. Phatic communication. The way people use space and distance to communicate ideas. The correct answer is J. Proxemics. The transmission of messages between individuals. The correct answer is D. Interpersonal communication. A staff member reads her newspaper during lunch hour. The correct answer is G. Indirect written communication. A bar chart is used to indicate the number of employees who resign every month. The correct answer is B. Visual semiology. A card system is introduced to monitor employees' punctuality. The correct answer is E. Graphic representation. A siren hoots to indicate that lunchtime has ended. The correct answer is A. Acoustic semiology. The principal sends a memorandum to all staff members about the new act. The correct answer is F. Direct written communication. The person is also known as the destination of the message. The correct answer is I. Receiver. A distance of 0 to half a meter is maintained. The correct answer is D. Intimate zone. Words or expressions used by certain professions. The correct answer is F. Jargon. Distance of more than 3 m is maintained. The correct answer is A. Public zone. Poor health causes the communication process to be ineffective. The correct answer is I. Physiological barrier. body movements and facial expressions. The correct answer is E. Kinesics. Interview held in order to change someone's point of view. The correct answer is C. Persuasive interview. Does not use words to send a message. The correct answer is G. Nonverbal communication. Any factor that prevents the message from being effective. The correct answer is B. Barrier. Communication between human beings and non-human entities. The correct answer is J. Extrapersonal communication. Personal documents needed for an interview. The correct answer is K. Curriculum vitae, identity document, and qualifications. Question. List 5 dimensions of self-image. The 5 dimensions of self-image are: 1. The physical dimension. 2. The skills dimension. 3. The intellectual dimension. 4. The psychological dimension. And 5. The sexual dimension. Question. Name 4 categories of communication. The 4 categories of communication are: 1. Intrapersonal communication. 2. Interpersonal communication. 3. Extrapersonal communication. 4. Mass communication. Question. Which dimension of a person's self-image could motivate a student to perform outstandingly in any game of sport? The answer is the skills dimension. A student's skills dimension of self-image plays a pivotal role in motivating him or her to aim for outstanding performance in sports. Question. Indicate the communication barrier, which is responsible for ineffective communication in each of the following instances. The presentation went well, although the room was very hot. The answer is physiological barrier. Question. It was difficult to understand what the lecturer was saying as she was using a strong local accent. The answer is semantic barrier. Question. The staff member failed to defend herself in a disciplinary hearing, as a situation of fear and hostility was prevailing between her and her supervisor. The answer is psychological barrier. Question. I can't believe that the supervisor chose a woman instead of me. I have been performing this task for so many years. Hence my father likes this saying, a woman's place is in the kitchen. The answer is perceptual barrier, based on gender. Question. Nervousness prevented him from presenting himself at his best at the initial interview. The answer is psychological barrier. Question. Give 5 characteristics of a good self-image. People with good self-image exhibit the following characteristics. 1. Those with a positive self-image set practical goals and exhibit reduced fear of failure, leading to increased confidence in their abilities. 2. They are well-adjusted, reasonably content with themselves, and demonstrate acceptance of others. 3. They excel in social interactions, engaging positively with most people due to enhanced social skills and an optimistic outlook. 4. Their sense of humor enables them to be tolerant and maintain a balanced approach to life, regardless of whether they experience success or failure. Question. Define the term gatekeeping. Gatekeeping is the act of intentionally setting up communication barriers due to concerns about the potential outcomes of a particular action or situation. Below are 2 examples that exhibit the limit or control of information flow. For instance, in media, an editor may decide not to publish a sensitive news story to avoid controversy or harm to the publication's reputation. Similarly, in everyday life, an individual might avoid discussing a contentious topic with a friend to prevent an argument that may hurt their feelings. Study the scenario below and answer the questions. Jaden works for a small financial company. He has a good self-image, and he usually works well under pressure. His manager, Mr. Craig, asked him to complete the budget and he gave him a strict deadline. Jardine worked hard to complete the task, but on the day that his budget had to be completed, a virus destroyed all the information on his computer, including his budget. He was frantic and stressed. Jardine thought to himself, "All managers are the same. I know that he will never believe me." Instead of explaining the situation to Mr. Craig, he avoided him the whole day. Question. State 3 elements of self-image. The 3 elements of self-image are: 1. What you think of yourself and how you perceive yourself. This element involves your personal beliefs, thoughts, and feelings about your own character, abilities, and appearance. 2. Your interpretation of what other people think of you. This reflects your perception of how others view you. It is shaped by the feedback and opinions you receive from others. 3. Your ideal self-image, who you hope to be. This element is about your aspirations and the image you aim to become. It represents your desired or ideal self. Question. Give Jardine 2 sentences of advice on how to improve his self-image. Jardine can improve his self-image by adopting a more positive outlook in 2 ways. Firstly, he should interpret other people's behaviors positively and avoid taking things too personally, by realizing that interactions are not always a reflection of his worth. Secondly, he must embrace failure and disappointment, not as setbacks, but as opportunities for learning and personal growth that can contribute to his overall development and resilience. Question. Explain the social needs of workers in the workplace. The social needs of workers in the workplace revolve around their inherent desires for interaction and socialization. Workers naturally want to belong and discuss issues with others. This can be fulfilled through activities such as team meetings and team-building exercises, where individuals can bond with their colleagues, share ideas, and collaborate on projects. Question. Define the following concepts. 1. Prejudice. 2. Stereotyping. Prejudice is the formation of an unfair and unreasonable opinion about a person, often without sufficient prior thought or knowledge of that person. Example of prejudice. A person assuming that someone from a different country is unintelligent without getting to know them. Or believing that a co-worker is lazy based on their appearance, without considering their actual work performance. Stereotyping refers to labeling a person based solely on their affiliation with a particular group or forming a fixed, general impression about the characteristics of a specific group of people. Example of stereotyping. Assuming that all teenagers are rebellious and disrespectful. Or believing that all members of a certain profession are wealthy. Question. Identify an example of stereotyping from the scenario above and quote it. In the scenario above, an example of stereotyping can be found in Jardine's thought. All managers are the same. This statement is a stereotype that assumes that all managers exhibit the same negative characteristics or behaviors, without considering the individuality of each manager. Question. Explain the term gatekeeping. Gatekeeping is when individuals actively control or limit the flow of communication by creating communication barriers intentionally or deliberately because of fear of familiar and unfamiliar consequences of their actions. Question. Do you think Jardine is guilty of gatekeeping? Substantiate your answer. Yes, he is guilty. He avoided the manager the whole day. Question. As a manager, Mr. Craig has the responsibility to ensure that his employees' needs are met in the workplace. Illustrate Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow proposed that people are driven by a series of needs, which can be categorized into 5 distinct levels. In his role as a manager, Mr. Craig can fulfill his employees' needs at various levels of Maslow's hierarchy to create a motivated and satisfied workforce, as outlined below. Physiological needs. At the base of the pyramid are the most basic needs, referred to as physiological needs. They include food, water, shelter, and sleep. These are essential for survival and form the foundation of the hierarchy. Safety needs. The second level encompasses safety and security needs. This includes physical safety, health, and financial stability. Employees should feel safe in their workplace, free from physical harm, and should have job security. Social belonging. The third level represents social needs. They include a sense of belonging and interpersonal relationships. In the workplace, this relates to positive working relationships, teamwork, and a sense of community. Esteem needs. Above the social needs are esteem needs, which include self-esteem and the esteem of others. This pertains to recognition, respect, and achievement. Managers can support these needs by acknowledging employees' contributions and providing opportunities for growth and recognition. Self-actualization. At the top of the hierarchy is self-actualization, which involves achieving one's potential and self-fulfillment. This can be encouraged in the workplace by offering opportunities for creativity, innovation, and personal development. Question. Discuss two types of reference groups Jardine has as an individual within his community using examples. Jardine, as an individual within his community, has two types of reference groups, namely 1. The primary reference group. The primary reference group is made up of people with whom Jardine has direct and intimate contact. In this case, his primary reference group includes his immediate family, such as his parents, siblings, spouse, and children. These individuals have a significant and enduring influence on his beliefs, values, and behaviors. For example, Jardine's parents may have shaped his work ethic and values, while his spouse and children impact his decisions and priorities. 2. The secondary reference group. This group consists of individuals with whom Jardine has indirect or less intimate contact. This category may include his in-laws, extended family members, neighbors, or acquaintances from social clubs or community organizations. While they may not have the same level of influence as his primary reference group, they still play a role in shaping his perceptions and behaviors. For instance, Jardine's interactions with his in-laws during family gatherings may influence his social norms and behaviors. Question. Explain the following terms and give an example of each. 1. Persuasive interview. A persuasive interview is conducted with the aim of convincing or persuading someone to change their opinion or behavior. An example of a persuasive interview is a disciplinary interview within an organization. In this scenario, a manager conducts an interview with an employee to persuade the employee to acknowledge their misconduct and change their behavior to align with the company's expectations. 2. Informative interview. An informative interview is conducted to provide, gather, or exchange information between the interviewer and interviewee. An example of an informative interview is a job interview, conducted to gather information about the candidate's qualifications, experience, and suitability for a particular job role. Question. What would you expect of the most suitable candidate with regard to each of the following? 1. Punctuality. The most suitable candidate should demonstrate punctuality for the interview. Arriving early may result in unnecessary nervousness and discomfort, while being late for the interview should also be strictly avoided, as it can negatively impact the candidate's chances of being considered for the position. It's advisable to arrive 5 minutes before the interview, and a candidate should ensure they are well informed about the interview time and the precise location of the company. 2. Eye contact. The most suitable candidate should maintain consistent and appropriate eye contact during the interview by looking directly at the interviewer. Maintaining eye contact is important for the following reasons. 1. It makes it easier for the interviewer to hear what you are saying, since your voice will be projected in the direction in which he or she is looking. 2. Maintaining eye contact with the interviewer ensures that their attention is focused on your responses. 3. Through eye contact, you can gauge the interviewer's reactions and receive continuous feedback. This enables you to adjust your communication accordingly. 3. Posture. The most suitable candidate should be mindful that their posture conveys a significant part of their attitude during the interview. It's therefore crucial to 1. Be attentive and have your posture reflect your attentiveness and engagement in the conversation. 2. Sit up straight with your hands resting on your lap, demonstrating an alert and professional demeanor. Avoid slouching, appearing overly relaxed, or leaning on the interviewer's desk. 3. When standing, maintain an upright posture with square shoulders and your hands hanging naturally at your sides. This will portray confidence and professionalism. 4. Refrain from leaning against any objects, as it can give an impression of casualness or disinterest. Question. Give an applicant 5 hints on his or her conduct before the interview. Here are the 5 hints for an applicant before an interview. 1. Gather information about the organization, including its products, services, size, and history. Understanding the company's background demonstrates your genuine interest and preparedness. 2. Pay careful attention to your appearance, dress professionally, and maintain good posture. 3. Prepare thoroughly for the interview by knowing the interview location, time, and the interviewer if possible. Being well prepared shows your commitment to the opportunity. 4. Familiarize yourself with the job you've applied for, understanding its duties, responsibilities, and location. 5. Be ready to answer common interview questions about your background, qualifications, salary expectations, reasons for leaving your current job, and your interest in the position. Question. Choose from the following list to identify the type of question in each of the sentences below. 1. If you saw someone in your department consistently taking home company stationery, what would you do? This is a hypothetical question. 2. This position entails a certain amount of travel. Do you have a valid passport? This is a closed question. 3. What is your opinion on punctuality? This is an open-ended question. Question. John is applying for a position as senior clerk, and he is invited for an interview. Illustrate the interview that John is going to attend as a communication process according to Jacobson. Let's illustrate this job interview based on the Jacobson model and using the elements of the communication process, as shown below. The interviewer, in this case, is the sender of the communication. He or she encodes their thoughts and questions into a code, which is typically a language understood by both parties. The message is represented by questions posed by the interviewer. This job interview uses face-to-face interaction as the medium of communication. The interviewer directly asks questions verbally, thus making voice the primary mode of communication. Non-verbal cues, such as body language and facial expressions, may also play a role in conveying the message. The interviewee acts as the receiver in this communication process. They decode the questions presented by the interviewer and interpret the interviewer's intent. The interviewee decodes or interprets the questions asked by the interviewer to understand what information is being sought. The interviewee then provides feedback by answering the questions with responses. These answers constitute their feedback to the interviewer's questions. Potential noise factors during the interview may include interruptions such as background noise, ringing phones, interviewee nervousness, or biases on the part of the interviewer. Additionally, technical issues or language barriers may also introduce noise into the interview process. Let's recap the whole illustration of the interview as a communication process. The interviewer, in this case, asks questions and becomes the sender or originator of the communication. He or she accomplishes this by encoding their thoughts and questions into a code, which is typically a language understood by the interviewee. The encoded thoughts and the questions become the message. Face-to-face interaction is then used as the medium to deliver the message. The interviewer directly asks questions verbally, thus making voice the primary mode of communication. Non-verbal cues, such as body language and facial expressions, may also play a role in conveying the message. The interviewee receives the message, and decodes or interprets the questions presented by the interviewer to understand what information is being sought. The interviewee then provides feedback by answering the questions with responses. These answers constitute the feedback to the interviewer's questions. Potential noise factors during the interview may include interruptions such as background noise, ringing phones, interviewee nervousness, or biases on the part of the interviewer. Additionally, technical issues or language barriers may also introduce noise into the interview process. Question. State 4 types of questions that John should expect to be asked in that interview. Give an example of a full question of each type. Joe should expect a variety of questions in his interview. Here are 4 types of questions he might encounter, along with examples. 1. Closed question. Example: have you worked in a similar role before? 2. Open-ended question. Example: what motivated you to apply for this senior clerk position in our company? 3. Specific question. Example: which software programs are you proficient in using for data management and record keeping? 4. Reflective question. Example: you mentioned your strong organizational skills. Can you provide an example of how your organizational abilities have positively impacted your previous workplace? Question. State 5 functions performed by the mass media in your community. The mass media in our community serves several essential functions. 1. Mass media informs the community about what is happening and highlights newsworthy events. 2. It interprets news stories, shaping public opinion and influencing the way people think about particular issues. 3. Mass media educates the general public on matters of significance and interest, contributing to their knowledge and awareness. 4. It provides a platform for local businesses to advertise their goods and services, making the public aware of the available options. 5. The mass media entertains the community through various means, including informative content, activities, films, competitions, and more, enhancing overall community engagement. 6. Mass media offers valuable services by providing information about TV programs, upcoming events, cinema and theater schedules, weather reports, and opportunities for buying or selling goods through classified advertisements. 7. It promotes culture within the community by presenting, reviewing, and announcing cultural programs and events of interest. 8. The mass media also acts as a moral watchdog for society, exposing instances of corruption and other irregularities in the community, thereby contributing to accountability and transparency. Question. Define the following terms. 1. Manipulative reporting. Manipulative reporting is a journalistic practice in which a newspaper, website, radio station, or TV channel presents information in a manner that intentionally shapes the audience's perception of the content either negatively or positively. For example, a newspaper may publish an article that selectively presents statistics and quotes that support their preferred perspective while downplaying or omitting opposing viewpoints or evidence. 2. Mass communication. Mass communication refers to the process of communication between a sender and large numbers of people who typically do not have personal connections with each other. This form of communication often involves the transmission of a message through mass media channels, such as television, radio, newspapers, or the internet, to reach large numbers of people who do not know each other. A good example of mass communication is a national television broadcast of a major news event, or a widely distributed newspaper article. Question. Give 4 requirements of good advertising. The 4 requirements of good advertising are: 1. The advertisement should comply with the AIDA formula. AIDA stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. Therefore, effective advertising should grab the audience's attention, generate interest in the product or service, create a desire for it, and prompt action, such as making a purchase. 2. It should clearly and accurately represent the product or service being advertised by highlighting the product's unique selling points and benefits. 3. Advertisements should be tailored to the specific demographics, interests, and preferences of the target audience to maximize their effectiveness. 4. The way an advertisement is presented, including its visual and audio elements, should be engaging and consistent with the brand's image. 5. The objective, the aim of the advertisement should be clear and measurable, whether it's to increase brand awareness, boost sales, or promote a new product. Question. Complete the following table and distinguish between mass communication and interpersonal communication under the given topics. 1. Number of people. In interpersonal communication, communication occurs in isolation, on a one-to-one, or a few-to-few basis. While in mass communication, the sender conveys a message to a large number of people or groups of people. 2. Nature of medium or channel. Interpersonal communication can be either direct, such as face-to-face conversations, or indirect, such as phone calls or written messages. On the other hand, mass communication often requires complex technology, and the creation and distribution of messages may involve expert knowledge. 3. Nature of feedback. In interpersonal communication, feedback is usually immediate, as in the case of face-to-face conversation. However, feedback in mass communication is often impossible or delayed as the sender may not receive immediate responses from the vast target audience. 4. The relationship between sender and receiver. In interpersonal communication, the sender and receiver may know each other as the communication is personal, often involving a level of familiarity and two-way interaction. However, in mass communication, the sender and receiver generally do not know each other, making the communication typically impersonal and one-directional. Question. Name 5 techniques that can be used in manipulative reporting. Manipulative reporting uses the following range of techniques to influence the way information is perceived by the audience. 1. Manipulative reporting can employ emotive or subjective language deliberately. This includes using words and phrases that evoke strong emotions or biases in the audience. For instance, instead of reporting, "the protest occurred," a manipulative report might state, "the violent protest erupted." 2. Reporters may use vague language, such as "it is believed," "unconfirmed reports," or "unidentified sources." These phrases create uncertainty and allow the report to present unverified or biased information as if it were fact. 3. Manipulative reports often provide only a partial view of the information. By selectively presenting specific details while omitting others, the report can distort the overall narrative. For example, highlighting one aspect of a study while ignoring contradictory findings. 4. Another technique is to take statements, quotes, or data out of their original context by removing the surrounding information to change the intended meaning. A good example is when part of a politician's speech is omitted to distort their position on an issue. 5. Manipulative reporting may employ confusing or incorrect statistics to mislead the audience. This can involve using misleading charts, graphs, or numbers to support a particular narrative. For instance, using a graph with a misleading scale to exaggerate a minor change. 6. Manipulative reporting can use photographs that convey a specific message. For example, showing an image of a few protesters at a rally to make it seem less significant than it was. Question. List and briefly discuss the 4 factors that can influence communication. 4 factors that can influence communication include: 1. Personality. An individual's personality encompasses their psychological, social, moral, and physical qualities. These qualities are expressed in interactions with the environment, especially with other people. Personality traits such as extroversion, openness, agreeableness, and conscientiousness can significantly impact how individuals communicate. For example, an extroverted person might be more inclined to engage in conversation, while an introverted person might prefer listening and reflecting before responding. 2. Frame of reference. Each person has a unique background of experiences and values that shape their perspective on the world. This frame of reference influences how they approach and perceive any given matter. Cultural background, education, upbringing, and past experiences all contribute to an individual's frame of reference. For effective communication, it's crucial to understand and consider the frame of reference of both the sender and the receiver to ensure messages are accurately conveyed and understood. 3. Reasoning. Reasoning involves thinking and forming judgments through a logical process. When communicating, individuals structure their thoughts and words in a way that they believe will be understood by others. Effective communication requires clear and logical reasoning to convey ideas coherently. This includes organizing thoughts, providing evidence or rationale to support claims, and anticipating potential questions or counterarguments. Logical reasoning helps to ensure that messages are conveyed in a way that promotes understanding and clarity. 4. Emotions. Emotions play a significant role in communication as they influence how messages are sent, received, and interpreted. Feelings such as hatred, love, fear, happiness, and anguish can affect both the sender and receiver of a message. Emotions can impact the tone, choice of words, and nonverbal cues used in communication. For example, someone who is angry might communicate more aggressively, while someone who is happy might communicate more enthusiastically. It's essential to be aware of one's own emotions and the emotions of others during communication to navigate potential misunderstandings and foster empathy and understanding. Study the scenario below carefully and answer the questions. A client enters the reception at a company. The receptionist sees the client enter and says, "Good morning, sir. How may I help you?" While she is anxiously paging through a telephone directory in search of a telephone number. Question. Identify the conflicting verbal and nonverbal messages that the receptionist sent. In this scenario, the receptionist is sending conflicting verbal and nonverbal messages. A. Verbal message. The receptionist greets the client and offers assistance, indicating a willingness to help. B. Nonverbal message. Simultaneously, the receptionist is visibly busy searching for something in the telephone directory. This nonverbal behavior suggests that the receptionist is preoccupied with another task and may not be readily available to assist the client. The verbal message suggests availability and willingness to help, while the nonverbal behavior of being engrossed in another task indicates busyness and potential unavailability. This inconsistency between verbal and nonverbal cues can confuse the client and create uncertainty about the receptionist's actual ability to assist at that moment. Question. Which of the two conflicting messages is the receiver most likely to believe? The receiver is most likely to believe the nonverbal message conveyed by the receptionist. Here's why. 1. Visibility and clarity. Nonverbal cues are often more visible and straightforward than verbal messages. In this case, the receptionist's busy behavior of searching through the telephone directory is immediately observable to the client. 2. Implicit communication. Nonverbal behavior can convey implicit messages that may be more authentic and difficult to control consciously. The receptionist's actions of searching through the directory signal a level of busyness that is not easily masked or contradicted. 3. Contextual relevance. The context of the situation plays a significant role in determining which message the receiver is more likely to believe. Since the receptionist is visibly occupied with another task, it's logical for the client to interpret this as a sign that the receptionist may not be readily available to assist. 4. Past experiences. If the client has had similar experiences where nonverbal cues accurately reflected the receptionist's availability or willingness to assist, they are more likely to trust these cues in the current situation. Question. Why do you think a person would send conflicting verbal and nonverbal messages? Sending conflicting verbal and nonverbal messages can occur for several reasons, including the following. 1. Limited control over nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication involves body language, facial expressions, gestures, tone of voice, and other cues, many of which are often unconscious or subconscious. Unlike verbal communication, which individuals can consciously monitor and adjust, nonverbal cues may be more spontaneous and difficult to control. Therefore, a person may inadvertently send conflicting nonverbal signals while verbally conveying a different message. 2. Incongruence between thoughts and expressions. Sometimes, individuals may experience internal conflicts or mixed emotions that manifest as incongruent verbal and nonverbal messages. For example, a person may verbally express agreement while their nonverbal cues, such as frowning or crossed arms, suggest disagreement. This incongruence can stem from underlying emotional or cognitive dissonance. 3. Contextual influences. The context in which communication occurs can also contribute to conflicting messages. For instance, a person may feel obligated to verbally offer assistance out of politeness or professional obligation, even if they are genuinely busy or unable to provide help at that moment. In such cases, their nonverbal cues may reveal their true state of availability or willingness to assist. 4. Stress or distraction. Stressful situations or distractions can impair an individual's ability to regulate both verbal and nonverbal communication effectively. Under stress, people may experience cognitive overload, leading to inconsistencies between their intended verbal messages and their nonverbal expressions. For instance, a receptionist may verbally greet a client while simultaneously searching through a document, unaware that their nonverbal behavior contradicts their verbal message. Question. List and briefly describe any 6 elements in the communication process. 1. Sender, transmitter. The sender, also known as the transmitter, is the person who initiates the communication process. They are responsible for kickstarting the conversation by formulating the message they want to convey. The sender then encodes the message, translating their thoughts or ideas into a communicable form that can be transmitted to the receiver. Whether they intend to inform, instruct, inquire, comment, or respond, the sender plays a vital role in initiating and shaping the communication exchange. 2. Message. The message is central to the communication process. It represents the information being conveyed from sender to receiver. The message contains the sender's intentions, whether it's an idea, request, instruction, opinion, or any other form of content intended for transmission. It helps the sender to establish whether the message was understood. 3. Receiver, respondent. The receiver, also known as the respondent, is the intended recipient of the message directed by the sender. They are responsible for decoding the message, interpreting its meaning, and formulating a response accordingly. The receiver's understanding and subsequent reaction play a crucial role in determining the effectiveness of the communication exchange, as they shape the feedback loop essential for meaningful interaction. 4. Feedback. Feedback is essential to the communication process, as it represents the response generated by the receiver in reaction to the sender's message. Feedback provides valuable insight into whether the message was understood and the communication objectives achieved. Through feedback, the sender gains clarity on the receiver's interpretation and can adjust future communication strategies accordingly. 5. Channel or medium. The channel or medium serves as the conduit through which the message traverses from sender to receiver, using communication avenues that range from verbal channels such as speech, telephone conversations, or written correspondence, to nonverbal channels including body language, visual aids, or auditory cues. The selection of an appropriate channel or medium significantly influences the clarity and efficacy of communication. 6. Code. The code is at the heart of effective communication and forms the bedrock of mutual understanding between all parties involved. It comprises a shared set of symbols, language, sign systems, written text, visual imagery, or gestural cues, understood by both sender and receiver. This code facilitates the encoding and decoding of messages for communication to occur. 7. Barriers. Barriers represent obstacles in communication that can hinder effective interaction. These can range from interruptions and uncomfortable seating to negative emotions and a lack of focus. Question. Define graphic representations and give 2 examples. Graphic representations are visual means through which information is communicated using symbols, graphics, signs, illustrations, types of lettering, and other visual elements. Examples of graphic representations include 1. Symbols. Symbols are concise visual representations that convey meaning. For instance, the power symbol universally indicates the on or off function for electronic devices. It's a simple yet effective way to communicate a specific action or concept without the need for words. 2. Graphic signs. Graphic signs are visual elements designed to convey information or messages, often without the need for text. An example is the no smoking sign, typically seen in public places or transportation hubs. It uses a graphic representation of a cigarette enclosed in a red circle with a line through it to indicate smoking prohibition. 3. Illustrations. Illustrations are visual representations used to enhance understanding or convey ideas in a more engaging manner. A children's book might feature illustrations of animals, landscapes, and characters to accompany the text and captivate young readers, aiding in comprehension and imagination. 4. Types of lettering. Different types of lettering refer to various styles and fonts used in written communication. For example, the bold and uppercase lettering often used in advertising signage is designed to grab attention and convey a sense of importance or urgency. It's commonly seen in store displays or promotional materials. 5. Graphs. Graphs are visual representations of data that enable quick interpretation and analysis. A bar chart is a type of graph that uses rectangular bars to represent quantities or values. For instance, a bar chart showing the sales performance of different products over a quarter allows viewers to compare sales figures easily and identify trends or patterns. 6. Maps. Maps are graphical representations of geographical locations, providing spatial information such as landforms, roads, cities, and political boundaries. An example is a road map, which displays highways, streets, and landmarks to assist travelers in navigation. Maps can also depict thematic information, like population density or climate zones. 7. Color coding. Color coding involves assigning different colors to represent various categories or characteristics, aiding in visual differentiation and understanding. For example, in a subway system map, different colored lines may represent distinct train routes, making it easier for passengers to identify their desired route at a glance and navigate the network efficiently. 8. Clothing and hairstyles. Clothing and hairstyles can serve as graphic representations of cultural identity, social status, or personal expression. Traditional attire, such as the kimono in Japan or the sari in India, reflects cultural heritage and traditions. Similarly, hairstyles like the mohawk or dreadlocks can signify membership in certain subcultures or convey a rebellious attitude. Read the scenario and answer the questions. Nintendo is upset because she has just had a fight with her boyfriend. Her sister, Naledi, comes home, knowing nothing about the fight. She cheerfully greets Nintendo, but Nintendo snaps and says, "Just leave me alone." Naledi replies, "Don't bite my head off. I didn't do anything wrong." Naledi thinks to herself, "I wonder what's bugging Nintendo." She decides to rather leave her sister in peace and not disturb her. She puts her earphones on and listens to her favorite song instead of continuing with the conversation. Question. Differentiate between interpersonal communication and intrapersonal communication by completing the table below. A. Interpersonal communication is communication between two or more people. B. intrapersonal communication is communication that you have with yourself. C. Example of interpersonal communication from the scenario is when Naledi is talking to Ntando, e.g., "Don't bite my head off." D. Example of intrapersonal communication from the scenario is when Naledi thinks to herself, "I wonder what's bugging Ntando." Question. Name and explain the main factor that influenced Ntando's communication with her sister. The main factor that influenced Ntando's communication with her sister is emotion, specifically, her emotional state following the fight with her boyfriend. Ntando's upset emotional state likely caused her to react with irritability and snap at her sister, even though her sister had done nothing wrong. Emotions can significantly impact how individuals communicate with others, often leading to changes in tone, body language, and overall demeanor. Question. Define phatic communication and give any practical example. Phatic communication is essentially the use of language to establish or maintain social atmosphere rather than to convey specific information or ideas. Here are some examples. 1. Greeting. Hi, how are you? This common greeting is often used merely to acknowledge someone's presence and to initiate a conversation rather than to genuinely inquire about their well-being. 2. Small talk. Nice weather we are having, isn't it? This type of conversation starter is not meant to deeply discuss meteorological patterns, but rather to engage in light banter and establish rapport. 3. Farewells. Take care, see you later, goodbye. These phrases are used to signal the end of an interaction and maintain the sociable tone of the conversation. Study the cartoon below and answer the questions. Question. What do you understand by a healthy self-image? A healthy self-image refers to possessing a positive concept of oneself, where one nurtures a favorable perception of their identity. It entails having a clear and constructive picture of oneself as a person, fostering feelings of confidence and pride in one's capabilities, qualities, and achievements. This outlook enables individuals to embrace their strengths, acknowledge their worth, and navigate life with a sense of self-assurance and contentment. Question. Does Paul have a good or a poor self-image? Give a reason for your answer. Paul appears to have a poor self-image based on several indicators. Firstly, he expresses a negative perception of himself through self-critical statements such as "I'm a loser" and "What do I know anyway?" These phrases demonstrate his tendency to belittle or devalue himself. Additionally, his self-criticism suggests a lack of confidence in his abilities or worth. By consistently undermining himself, Paul exhibits a pattern of negative self-talk that contributes to his poor self-image. Question. Provide Paul with 5 guidelines to improve his self-image. Paul should use the following guidelines to improve his self-image. 1. Set realistic goals based on his strengths and weaknesses. Paul should begin by setting goals that are grounded in his strengths and weaknesses. By identifying what he excels at and where he needs improvement, he can create realistic and achievable objectives. 2. Surround himself with supportive people. He must actively avoid spending time with people who consistently make him feel useless or undermine his confidence. Surrounding himself with supportive individuals can greatly enhance his self-image. 3. Take control of his emotions. Paul must take control of his feelings by making a conscious decision to prioritize happiness whenever possible. This involves recognizing negative emotions and actively choosing to focus on the positive aspects of his life. 4. Motivate himself with positive affirmations. He should motivate himself to be successful by adopting a positive mindset and affirming his capabilities. Encouraging self-talk, such as repeating phrases like "I can do it," can help reinforce confidence and determination. 5. Challenge negative self-talk. It's crucial for Paul to stop entertaining negative thoughts about himself. Instead, He should consciously challenge and replace them with more positive and empowering thoughts. 6. Be proud of his achievements. He must take pride in his accomplishments, no matter how small they may seem. Acknowledging his achievements can boost self-esteem and provide motivation for future endeavors. 7. Learn to accept compliments. When someone compliments him, Paul should graciously accept it without downplaying his accomplishments or deflecting praise. Learning to acknowledge and appreciate positive feedback can help reinforce a healthy self-image. 8. Learn when to accept or reject criticism. While Paul should be open to fair and constructive criticism, he must also learn to discern between helpful feedback and unwarranted negativity. He should refuse to let unfair criticism undermine his self-worth or confidence. 9. Learn from failure and disappointments. Paul must view failure and disappointment as opportunities for growth rather than indicators of inadequacy. Embracing setbacks as learning experiences can help him develop resilience and confidence in his abilities. Question. Give practical examples of how the employer can assist employees in fulfilling the following needs in the workplace, as depicted in Maslow's hierarchy. 1. Security needs. 2. Affiliation needs. 3. Esteem needs. 4. Self-actualization needs. Here are some practical examples of how an employer can assist employees in fulfilling each of these needs in the workplace, as depicted in Maslow's hierarchy. 1. Security needs. Security needs encompass physical safety, job security, financial security, health, and protection from unexpected events. Employers can assist in fulfilling these needs by A. Offering competitive compensation and benefits. Providing fair wages, healthcare benefits, retirement plans, and insurance coverage can help employees feel financially secure. B. Ensuring a safe working environment. Implementing safety protocols, conducting regular safety inspections, and providing necessary safety equipment can enhance employees' physical security. C. Offering job stability. Providing clear career paths, offering tenure-based incentives, and avoiding frequent layoffs or restructuring can contribute to job security. D. Providing mental health support. Offering employee assistance programs, EAPs, and counseling services, and promoting a healthy work-life balance can address employees' psychological security. 2. Affiliation needs. Affiliation needs include the desire for social interaction, friendship, belongingness, and meaningful relationships. Employers can support these needs by A. Encouraging team-building activities. Organizing team outings, workshops, and collaborative projects can foster camaraderie among employees. B. Creating a positive work culture. Promoting open communication, mutual respect, and inclusivity can help employees feel a sense of belonging. C. Facilitating networking opportunities. Arranging social events, networking sessions, and mentorship programs can help employees build professional relationships within the organization. D. Supporting employee resource groups. Encouraging the formation of employee resource groups based on shared interests, backgrounds, or identities can create supportive communities within the workplace. 3. Esteem needs. Esteem needs involve the desire for recognition, achievement, respect, and self-worth. Employers can help fulfill these needs by A. Providing recognition and feedback. Recognizing employees' contributions through awards, praise, and constructive feedback can boost their self-esteem. B. Offering opportunities for growth. Providing training programs, professional development opportunities, and challenging assignments can help employees achieve personal and career growth. C. Promoting a culture of appreciation. Celebrating milestones, acknowledging accomplishments publicly, and promoting a culture of gratitude can enhance employees' sense of value. D. Encouraging autonomy and responsibility. Allowing employees to take ownership of projects, make decisions, and contribute ideas can foster a sense of autonomy and esteem. 4. Self-actualization needs. Self-actualization needs involve the desire for personal growth, fulfillment of potential, and pursuing meaningful goals. Employers can support these needs by A. Offering opportunities for creativity. Allowing employees to explore innovative ideas, take on challenging projects, and experiment with new approaches can foster self-expression and creativity. B. Encouraging skill development. Providing access to training, educational resources, and skill-building workshops can support employees in their journey towards self-actualization. C. Fostering a culture of learning. Promoting a culture where continuous learning and self-improvement are valued can inspire employees to pursue personal and professional development. D. Empowering employees. Delegating authority, trusting employees with autonomy, and encouraging them to set and pursue their own goals can empower them to reach their full potential. Question. Define gatekeeping and give 2 practical examples of gatekeeping. Gatekeeping is the deliberate controlling and usually limiting of general access to something, such as controlling access to information, resources, or individuals. Practical examples of gatekeeping include 1. Appointment scheduling in a company. The secretary controls access to and who gets appointments with the president of a company. They act as gatekeepers by managing the president's schedule, deciding who gets to meet with them, and only granting appointments to those deemed relevant or important enough. 2. Resource allocation. A project manager may act as a gatekeeper by controlling access to project resources such as budget, manpower, and equipment. They assess requests, prioritize them based on project needs, and allocate resources accordingly. Question. List and briefly discuss any 3 dimensions of self-image. The following are the dimensions of self-image. 1. Physical dimension. This dimension encompasses the evaluation of one's body and physical appearance. It involves how individuals perceive their own physical attributes and how they view their bodies across different stages of life. This self-assessment can significantly impact self-esteem and body image, as it relates to societal standards of beauty and physical prowess. 2. Skills dimension. A dexterity dimension. A dimension of skill. The skills dimension pertains to one's perception of their abilities, both socially and technically. It includes assessing social behavior and career skills by comparing oneself to others and considering how others perceive them. Additionally, it involves evaluating technical abilities, such as performing tasks like fixing electrical plugs or participating in sports or games. This dimension influences self-confidence and feelings of accomplishment in various domains of life. 3. Intellectual dimension. This dimension revolves around the perception of one's intelligence and cognitive abilities. Individuals judge their intellectual capacity by comparing themselves to others and assessing how others react to their intelligence. This dimension is crucial for self-worth and academic or professional pursuits, as individuals strive to excel intellectually and seek validation for their cognitive abilities. 4. Psychological dimension. The psychological dimension involves the evaluation of one's personality traits and tendencies. It includes characteristics like introversion, extroversion, shyness, or outgoingness, which are judged based on similarities to others and reactions from others. This dimension plays a significant role in shaping self-concept and interpersonal relationships, influencing how individuals navigate social interactions and express themselves. 5. Sexual dimension. The sexual dimension refers to the evaluation of one's gender identity, masculinity, femininity, and perceived attractiveness to the opposite sex. It involves assessing conformity to traditional gender roles and behaviors, as well as perceptions of desirability and popularity among members of the opposite sex. This dimension impacts self-confidence, social dynamics, and romantic relationships, shaping individual sexual identity and interactions within society's norms and expectations. Question. Use Maslow's hierarchy of needs to identify the specific level of needs in the following statements. Point 1. A secretary, who is finding it difficult to complete a typing report for her manager because she is suffering from a severe headache. This situation falls under physiological needs. The secretary's primary concern is alleviating her physical discomfort, headache, which is a basic physiological need according to Maslow's hierarchy. 2. A young employee taking out a life insurance policy. This aligns with security needs. By taking out a life insurance policy, the employee is seeking financial security and protection for themselves and their loved ones in the event of unexpected circumstances. 3. A general manager being promoted to the position of managing director. This corresponds to the need for esteem, self-esteem, self-actualization. The promotion represents a recognition of the manager's skills, abilities, and accomplishments, fulfilling the need for esteem and self-actualization by progressing in their career and achieving higher status. 4. A temporary staff member who suddenly resigns and takes up a permanent position in another company. This also pertains to security needs. By taking up a permanent position in another company, the staff member is seeking more stable and secure employment, satisfying their need for financial security and stability. 5. The ESCOM CEO, who serves as a board member of a non-profit organization for AIDS orphans. This reflects the need for self-actualization. By serving as a board member of a non-profit organization for AIDS orphans, the CEO is fulfilling higher-level needs related to personal growth, contribution to society, and realizing their full potential beyond financial and career success.
To access more learning and exam preparation materials, go to www.acemyexams.coza. This link is also in the video description below. Thank you for watching this video. Remember to subscribe and be the first to know when we upload new videos.